Oh, Commissioners. As you all know, I'm the chairman of the Leon County Human Relations Committee, Advisory Committee, and we've been working hard on this project for a while now. But, you know, at the last meeting, at the request of Commissioner Thale, you guys asked me to meet with the county legal team and administrative team and iron out what was a draft ordinance, and we've done that. I would say that the county staff did an amazing job. They were very meticulous in making sure that this thing was solid, there was no ambiguity to it, and that it would actually do something that could be enforceable. I commend them for that. You know, this ordinance is definable. It's very well put together, and to be honest with you, it's being used already as a model policy in other counties in Florida. So I think we're on to something here, and we should keep moving it forward. This ordinance has support from most reasonable people, businesses, and individuals and churches, I guess. There are a lot of faith organizations that really do support equal rights for all. I think you've seen some evidence of that recently in the newspaper. And they've been very good at coming out to speak about it. You know, I've heard that this is unnecessary and there's no real need for this ordinance, but I would challenge you to think about all the emails and phone calls you've received from people that are less than happy about this. And from my perspective, I think they give you plenty of justification that there's a problem out there that needs to be addressed. Now, a lot of people that I deal with on this ordinance were concerned about coming to these meetings. They couldn't show their face in this hall because their boss might find out. We don't have twice as many people in here. Actually, there are a lot of people that honestly have that fear, and nobody should be able to live or should have to live in that fear. So I think moving forward, that will give people the power to actually live their lives honestly and openly. The existing housing ordinance was, you know, it was well intentioned. I think 10 years ago, I think that everybody went away thinking they've done something. But I can tell you, as co-chair of the local gay and lesbian community center, the Family Tree, that it really had no teeth. On a number of occasions, I've been contacted personally by people looking for housing, and because of their unique situation, one example I'll use is two women living together with multiple children. They were continually denied an opportunity to rent an apartment. When we called the county, and since then I know there's probably other avenues that have taken, we called the county to basically forward to the Human Relations Commission with the state, who summarily told you that they didn't cover this kind of thing, and that was the end of the story. So, in summary, I'd like to say that, you know, I think that you all appreciate the fact that nobody wants to be discriminated on, and I hope you move this forward, and thank you for all your support in supporting our community to make this happen.
As a local husband and father, I'm concerned about our community. I also serve as the Vice President of Public Policy for the statewide organization, Florida Family Action. I'm opposed to the human rights ordinance. There have been no actual documented cases of alleged discrimination for the proposed category that the Commission or the supporters of the ordinance have brought forward. In fact, the county attorney was quoted last month in the Tallahassee Democrat as stating that he has no knowledge of any cases of housing discrimination in his 20 years of service to the county for the area of sexual orientation. And so it begs the question, what is the point of this ordinance? I am very familiar with the extensive memo that was provided to the Commission from the Alliance Defense Fund. In that memo, that document points out that the categorizing sexual behavior as an immutable characteristic and therefore in need of special protection is not supported by current science or by existing state and federal court precedent. The executive summary of the ordinance points out that the ordinance would impact more than 2,200 businesses and service providers in our county. It's staggering, the breadth of this ordinance. It would inevitably force employers and businesses under the stipulations of the ordinance to allow biological men into women's restrooms and locker rooms if they decide to express themselves in that manner, thus creating in our community a real public safety concern for our families. Finally, let's just be honest for a moment here. This divisive issue has been brought forward by a small group of homosexual activists who seek to place their very sincere but misguided desires above the needs of our broader community. I would urge you to reject this ordinance.
And we believe that God's love is for all people, and it is very important that we continue to move forward as we have done so far in pushing forward to take a stand against discrimination regardless of who you are. And it's very, very important in our congregation. We are not exclusively so, but we are predominantly made up of individuals who self-identify as gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender individuals. And I know to those who say that this is not needed, let me tell you that I stand here today and can say, as an openly gay Christian pastor in a denomination where I'm not at risk of losing my job from my employer, that many of my parishioners are not in that same situation. I have parishioners who have in the past experienced discrimination because of who they are. I have parishioners right now who are currently experiencing discrimination because of who they are. So for those who would say that this is a political homosexual agenda kind of thing, this is a human rights issue. When it moves from the political to the personal, when we begin talking about people not being able to provide for themselves, for their families, or to have a right to housing or other opportunities and public accommodation, it becomes personal. And when we deny people the ability to provide for themselves and their families, that's just wrong. And so I would encourage you to continue to move this forward to public hearing. And may all of us, we stand on, and there's an Old Testament scripture that says to speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly, defend the rights of the poor and the needy. I ask you to continue doing that, continue moving forward for equality and fairness for all the citizens of Leon County. Thank you.
The concern that we have in the business community is the increase in laws, ordinances, and regulations that materially affect our ability to meet our payroll, provide good service, and be a part of the total community. It is our opinion that this ordinance adds material confusion because it adds 2 new classes to the current law: sexual orientation and gender identity. We all understand in business the clear message of the federal and state statutes that identify discrimination in employment, housing, and other business practices. What this ordinance does is subject the business community to a moving target. Actual or perceived homosexuality, heterosexuality, or bisexuality is what an individual holds in their mind and in their heart. And we know that to do otherwise, to challenge this, is a violation of federal and state statutes. Yet this ordinance indicates that it is a protected class. I maintain that discrimination on the basis of sex is already set in statute, and to expect employers to know that they have violated a perceived type of sexuality is expecting us in the business community to have cryptic powers. Gender ability or expression is equally as confusing. If one questions gender identity, we all know that this is a violation of federal and state statute. Summarily, here it is. There is no need for this ordinance. We live in a litigious society, and what this ordinance does gives the business community an unfunded mandate, and I think you all know what that is. To defend against an accusation of discrimination under this ordinance would bankrupt most small businesses. I understand that there's a movement on your commission to amend it to 15 employees, and to change the discrimination on age from 18 to 40. I think this is an improvement, but it's not the concern that we have. The concern is 2 new protected classes. Let me close with this final comment. This commission is proposing to exclude itself from this ordinance. Are you saying do as I say and not as I do? Or are you setting another example of an anti-business climate in this community?